This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Okay.
We are.
we are very much, Mag. Welcome to the show. I was talking to Mag while the intro's going, and we're just having a good old time. People are like, what takes you guys so long to start the show? We try to start on time, but Mag and I are always in the background like going, hey, bro, what's going on? What are you doing? And we were talking about armpit hair for about 20 minutes.
Colt has a 16-inch long armpit hair that he pulled out, and So, anyways, that was happening behind the scenes. But like, you know how it goes,
just like that. So hopefully everything's good. I was I was like looking at a black screen on OBS. I'm like, oh, it's time to go. But thank you guys for being here. This is episode 124. I have changed the overlay just a little bit this week. I've got my graphic I created with all the characters for Xbox franchises. Just fitting because Mag and I are going to talk a lot about where Xbox is heading and all these partnerships that are going on. Also, I've got a scrolling list of topics. So people who, when you're joining the show, and thank you for being here, hit the like button. My producers say I have to say that. They say, you got to tell them to hit the like button, Mag. You got to say it.
Remember, and every 15 minutes you got to do the weather report, right? So it doesn't matter what you're saying. You just have to cut it right off and just be like, anyway, so Xbox is going to do this and the other thing. Tomorrow's weather is going to be 23 degrees outside. And we're going to do that too, okay? So that's just part of the gig. Anyways, one other thing I was going to mention, by the way, now that Colt has the scrolling topic list at the bottom, I'm going to have a scumbag scrolling list for everybody who upsets me in the chat. Your names are all going to appear on the scumbag scrolling. It's going to go across the bottom of the screen. And of course, there's no shortage of that in this chat. So it's going to be, the list is going to be about this long. Anyways, just joking. You guys are the best.
We do have a very respectable chat, but you're all scumbags, and we're so glad you're here. Yeah,
I love every one of you guys, even the ones that don't like me. You guys are great.
I feel like I'm not like really in the zone all of a sudden. I'm like, wait a minute, we're doing a show, but I wanted to talk to you, Mag, as we kind of warm up about what's been going on lately. You got to meet up again with a pretend person in real life, and
I did. I'm
jealous. So, tell me real quick about what that was like.
Well, it was fun. I got to hook up with Noof Nukem. I'm sure he's going to in the chat. True 77, don't start. The show just started, man. Anyways, all joking aside, I got to hook up with Noof Nukem yesterday. We do it about once a year. Well, actually, the last time I saw him was a year and a half ago. He lives in Alberta in central Canada, so it's nowhere close to here. That's still like a 4.5-5 hour flight over to my neck of the woods, right? But either way, he comes to Niagara Falls every year for a sports. No, not paraphernalia.
Wet t-shirt
sports
contest?
Equipment. Yeah, wet t-shirt contest, obviously. No, he deals in sports equipment, like hockey equipment, baseball equipment, football equipment, that kind of thing, right?
Oh, okay.
And then sells them to athletes, teams, whatever, organizations. And every year, or twice a year, they have a big conference in Niagara Falls. And so, obviously, they fly him out and to be part of the conference and whatever else. And Niagara Falls is a 2.5-hour drive for me. Not even. It's just under 2 hours. So my wife and I, we drive over there and we hook up, and then we go out for dinner and get drunk and have a good time and laugh and joke and make fun of YouTubers behind their backs.
How long did you guys talk about Rand while you're at the bar?
Well, he didn't do much talking on Rand. I spoke for about 7 hours about my likes and dislikes of Rand.
Noof was like...
Actually, ironically, Rand never came up in conversation. I'm just kidding, Rand. We never talked about you, and whenever we do, it's never in a bad way. But anyways, yeah, we just hooked up. We talked. Like I said, went out for dinner, had some drinks, did all that kind of stuff. It was great. And then we're gonna do that again in the summertime. So in June, we're gonna do another meetup in the summer. So
nice.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to this weekend. Other than that, I still got 2 or 3 things to mop up to get that 100% on Dead Island 2. Man, is it ever annoying. There's this one. Let me tell you this one. I'm just going to tell you this one. For anybody who's completed it, you'll know.
An achievement or trophy?
Yeah, achievement/trophy.
Okay.
And it's you have to get like all these combat challenges, right? And it's like, kill X amount of zombies with this, kill X amount of zombies with fire, blah, 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 blah. One of them, and it's one of your like rechargeable, like throwable weapons, like a grenade or whatever. It's a shuriken, it's a ninja star. And you throw 3 of them. You have to, like, I can't believe how hard this is. You have to sever a limb on 3 different zombies with the 3 shuriken that you throw out. You can't.
I might have gotten that one by chance.
You know what?
Sorry.
You would. Okay, you would, because I've been at it for like 2 days and I haven't been able to do it. I've been watching these little videos, and you know how YouTube videos really bother me.
Did you run down to the Santa Monica Beach to try and get that? Because I think that's where I got it, where there's a good chunk of them.
I was gonna say like a good congregation of zombies and stuff, right?
Yeah,
And I keep getting in there, and I get so close, and I just miss, right? But anyways. I'm just working on that, and then other than that, then I'm really looking forward to gonna get into Alan Wake 2 this week. And I gotta tell you, chat, I don't know if you guys have touched it, but my God, the buzz around this game is something else. Everybody's talking about RoboCop. I can't believe it. Like everybody's
say Alan
talking
Wake.
about.
Yeah.
Well, they are talking about Alan Wake as well. I'm going to start that this week, so I will have a report by next week as to my progress on Alan Wake and how much I like it and whatever else. But the other one, I can't ignore it, is RoboCop. Everybody's talking about RoboCop. You look all over social media, everywhere else on YouTube, everybody's playing it. And I'm like, I thought it was just going to be one of, like, what was the other game they did? Terminator, whatever. Mm-hmm. They did a Terminator game. And actually, ironically, Noof played it. I remember he was telling me about it. He goes, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a fun game, but it's a kind of game that you buy for like $20 kind of deal, right? So I assumed RoboCop would be the same. Clearly, that's not the case because everybody's talking about it and everybody's really getting into this RoboCop thing. So I got to check it. Chat, let me know if you guys have played RoboCop and let me know if you really like it. And of course, I'm a huge fan.
And who would have thought that RoboCop would do better than the latest Call of Duty, which we'll also talk about. You haven't asked me, Mag, what I was doing, but
my goodness, I'm about to.
Me. Come on, ask me. No.
Great Gonad. I was going to say Great Gonad. Great Monad. Hello. Sorry, he said hi to me in the chat. Mr. Colteastwood, what have you been doing during this glorious week that we've had?
He looks me right.
First week of November.
Looks me right in the eyes. I've been dabbling into Alan Wake, and
excellent.
I don't know what to do. I'm in the second or third main area, and I'm lost, and I'm like, and then I picked up Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of getting into that, but there's actually too many games. I also want to get into RoboCop, but I've got some gameplay to show here. I've got like 50 minutes of gameplay that I'm probably just going to put up here while we talk, while we get rolling. But this weekend, and last weekend, I talked to Jedi Knight Peter, and he got me into this custom forge-made, like user-made firefight for Halo. Let me get this thing. Yeah, I think it should be up here in a second for everybody. But we were playing this firefight mode and having a lot of fun with it. And Red Wolf's in the chat. I got Red Wolf in there. We were hanging out in party chat, yelling, singing Creed and Nickelback songs and Smash Mouth, being super annoying, just going crazy because this custom-made firefight, which is not official, obviously, is so difficult. Like, it takes like 3 magazines to get through an elite, and it's super sweaty for like a cooperative game. And I'm the kind of guy who I really haven't touched Halo Infinite really that much over the past 2 years. And now we're getting these big parties. The other night we had 12 of us in one match, which is like one of the max numbers you can have in the lobby. And we're all just blowing the crap out of the Covenant and laughing and having a great time. And it's just something, Mag, it's an experience you can't have on any other game. I just can't think of another game where you can get 12 people together in a party. You're all on the same map. You're all working together and getting sweaty in co-op and having a good time, laughing your heads off. It's, Red Wolf says, legit one of the best times I ever had. He told me the next day his jaw and face was sore from laughing and joking all evening. Sorry if the video's stuttering. It looks like it's stuttering just a little bit, but...
Yeah, that's not us, by the way. I've been talking to a lot of YouTubers since Friday. Live streams on YouTube have been wreaking havoc, and it doesn't matter whether you're using Discord, StreamYard, any of those things, even Streamlabs, all of them. And we're talking like big channels, like 1 million+ subscriber channels, and they're having a lot of trouble too. So it's not us, it's YouTube. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they're working on something, and it's affecting live streams, but.
It's like you had one job, YouTube, but that stuff used to bother me when there's like technical glitches. But I've done almost 125 shows, and when things are not working right, I'm like, you guys will forgive me. I mean, I had a really bad glitch where I couldn't get the mics working. It was echoing my voice, couldn't hear the guests at Paris Lillian, and it was so bad, and my face was so red, but the chat was laughing their heads off. And like I remember Red Wolf said, we were having so much fun at your expense. So bring it on, right? So I've got some Halo footage, and then I think I threw some Batman footage in here for absolutely no reason, but I may not keep it there. But
hey, man, do you? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
First
go ahead.
of all, I wanted to piggyback off what you're saying about Halo. When Halo Infinite first came out, and we were doing those big maps, whatever else, and we would be with like a huge group of the community, and it was just so much fun, like being in those chats and the parties. And then I remember there was one that Wandering Dutch, a shout out to Wandering Dutch. He actually put it on a live stream. We were on YouTube. I had no idea that we were on YouTube, right? And I'm just getting blown to smithereens, right? And the flurry of foul language coming out of my mouth and the horrible things that I was saying, right? And then Dutch just goes, Mag, we're on the air. And I'm like, oh! I'm like, well, good evening, everybody. I did not mean to say that about the nun at the local church. Anyhow, I said some pretty horrible stuff, but let me ask you a question. But it was such a good time, such a great time. Assassin's Creed Mirage. I am a monster Assassin's Creed fan. I've played them all. I've completed them all. I spent thousands of hours in them. This is the only one that I haven't gotten yet, and it's not because I don't want to. I just haven't got to it yet, right? Because I'm still working on the stuff that I've already, started.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. How does it play? I've talked to Mr. Boomstick about it. He loves it. But like, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about the game? Give me like a 2-minute review of like what you think about it.
The combat is so limited. It's probably the weakest Assassin's Creed in a while, but it doesn't mean it's sucks. Because in my opinion, the Assassin's Creed games have always been like a solid 8, almost every release, and this one just basically has like 3 or 4 different combat maneuvers. It doesn't really evolve from what I've been told from like people from Red and Rand who've played the whole game, but I'm still going to play it. Like, it just shines when you're sneaking around and just taking people out piece by piece. I did a main mission where I was supposed to draw out a main person to assassinate him like you used to do in the original couple Assassin's Creed games. And my gosh, look at this purple map. Like, we were blown away. Red, let me take a side here. Red and I were like turning off the HUD and like making photo mode type shots, pictures, while these guys were all playing Infinite Umbra, Jedi Knight Peter. I think Grey Monad was there. Was Holly there? I can't remember. We had so many people that when people finally left the chat, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot they were in there, because there were so many of us talking. But we were in photo mode taking pictures of this beautiful purple map, and Hargeet Chani was getting so mad. He's like, you guys in photo mode. And then we're just like, photo mode, and we're just being obnoxious. This was such a great experience. The game got so chaotic, Mag, that it was dropping down to like 4 frames when stuff was blowing up, because users make these maps and they don't get run and certified by 343. So if you just put too much stuff in the map and it can't handle it on the console, it just freaks out. So as far as Assassin's Creed, yeah, it's I'm hearing it's like a 6.5. So I can still enjoy a game like that. So I'm going to stick with it. But anyway, I was going to say, in Assassin's Creed, I was supposed to draw out this guy and kill him, but instead I was like painstakingly going out and around this palace and just murking guard by guard by guard until there was almost no guards left. And it was like, sir, you're supposed to go up on that balcony and get the guy. And I was like, oh yeah. And I just threw a knife at him and went up and stabbed him.
See,
so
that's how I play. Like, I don't go in guns blazing. It doesn't matter what I'm playing. Like, I am a huge stand for stealth games. I love stealth games, and I will, like, you know, from your Arkham games, especially Arkham Asylum specifically, right? Arkham games, Last of Us, even Days Gone, so much, and then of course Assassin's Creed and all those other, you know, any other games that, and then back in the day, Splinter Cell, whatever else. And I would just relish in the idea of just looking at an area and saying, okay, you know what? There are 8 guys here, or whatever, 11 guys, whatever, and then just say, how am I going to do this? Map it out. Timmy, I see you in the chat there, buddy. So like I would do that, and I would just like systematically I would sit there for hours and hours and hours just trying to figure out how I'm going to take all this down. So that's that. So the fact that you're saying that is still a mechanic that works really well, I'm excited for that, because that to me is huge, right? That is the most important thing for me in the end of the day. It's not open combat. I don't like open combat in Assassin's Creed, even in the other games like the open world RPG ones, like Odyssey and Valhalla and stuff. They were great. I love the combat, like especially like the parrying.
Just feels better when you're just surgically taking people out and not allowing them to rattle the alarm, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I've always liked the idea of just going in there stealth and just murking the hell out of every single last person that is on there. Darth Sanji, he asked me, he says that the mag is that a new picture. I don't know what you're referring to. If you were talking about the one on the wall behind me, no. The
one over Miss Pac-Man. I don't remember that.
Oh, no, that's my Mafia 3. No, that was always there.
Oh, okay.
That was always there. That's my Mafia 3 movie poster. It came with the deluxe edition of the game, if anybody bought the deluxe edition of Mafia 3. Great game. A lot of bugs, but whatever. It was still a lot of fun. Anyhow,
Mafia 3? I don't remember bugs. I love that game.
Dude, there were so many funny bugs in that game. I remember I was going down to the swamps and I was dumping a body in the water because there was an achievement for dumping a body in a crocodile eating it. Right? So I'd literally be sitting there with this dead body next to me at the dock, and I'm just like, and then all of a sudden a crocodile, I'm like, oh, there he is, and I'm picking up the dead body and I'm dumping it in the water so that the crocodile can eat him. Right? I look up and there's a boat. I'm not kidding. A boat is flying through the air. Like, we're talking That's like normal. Straight out of like, yeah, well, for Thor, sure. Yeah. So like, I'm just like playing this and I'm like, why? And I look up and like 100 feet in the air, there's literally a boat just flying across the sky. And I'm like, oh, must be Odin. But anyways, yeah. So great game. Cool.
Yeah.
We got some things to talk.
We do have a lot to talk about. I was going to say that I finished the last generation right before the Series X came out, like doing everything in Mafia 3. Jedi Knight Peter with a super with an Australian 10 says, had an amazing time playing Halo, and he's going to help me with these names. With everyone, shout out to Colt, Red Wolf, Infinite Umbra, Teasy, That Blue Number, Mr. Bushido, Gray Monad, Hargeet Chani, and he says, anyone else I missed? I was talking to Red on the phone today. I love to bug him, because he's like, he's my son. I'm like, son, how are you? Did you do your homework today? And I was like, who are we playing with? And he said that he I don't know, he said somebody was, when they left the party, he's like, oh yeah, they were there too. And I was doing the same thing. Gaz is in here, who's also in this clip. Gaz in the chat. What did he say? He says, what's Granddad ranting about now?
Yeah, you know what, Gaz actually put something earlier. He goes, of course, Mag is talking about dumping bodies. Yes, Gaz, and guess what? You're the scumbag lawyer that's going to make sure that that it doesn't go to court. All right? So yep. I deal with the damage. I make the mess. You mop it up. That's your job. You got it? All right, cool. Leave the gun, take the cannolis, and get out of here. Carry on, Colteastwood.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Gaz. The next day, I couldn't remember. I did like 3 sessions of this firefight. The next day, Gaz was like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, just get on Xbox. I got to show you this firefight thing. And I'm like, trying to figure it out. And he was like, this, Gaz says, oh, bro, this is lit. Oh my gosh. And we were going around the Wraith and just blasting people. And And then he ended up playing Halo for like 4 hours straight that night after I left. But I got a couple supers that I missed yesterday. Spartan661, or last Monday. Thank you for the super that I missed right when I hit the exit button. He says, I'd rather play my guitars and make some adobo. Oh my gosh, man. We went and got some tacos on Saturday they were so good. I was doing so good. Danny Passion Official with the 2 says, I only 100% games that are my all-time favorite. And that's a shout out to Mag, who 100%'s way too many games.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's the philosophy from now on. I only buy games that I want, not fair weather. They're games that I absolutely want to play and I'm going to enjoy, or at least I know I'm going to enjoy. So I'm very careful of what I purchase. And then I will 100% them so that I can do every single little thing that the developer, put in the game, so that I can experience every little nuance and nook and cranny and everything that they've designed. I get to do it, so that when I bump into these developers or talk to them or whatever, I have a lot of them that follow me and talk to them, and then I just say, hey, I got the 1,000 out of 1,000, or I got the platinum, or I got whatever. Yeah. They love hearing that stuff. They love that. They're like, oh man, that's amazing, because and then some of them actually tell you, like, it took us 3 months to work on this or whatever and that. And it's like, we're so glad that you found that and experienced that little nugget or that little Easter egg or that little whatever, right? That's what it's all about, man. Like, you're really like deep diving in the artistry of what they do. And that's what I do. And so therefore, that's why I haven't even started Alan Wake or anything else. I'm still mopping up the other stuff. Then I'll get to Alan Wake, and then eventually I'd buy it for $1. RoboCop,
right? RoboCop reference. Yeah, shout out to Sean the Breeze. Says my daughter heard your good impression, and she's laughing. That's the I don't know. He's like a public service or what do you call it? Public TV chef guy that was like putting ranch dressing on a salad, and it did not look very delicious. But I forgot what I was going to say. I want to talk about a game that's coming just for a minute, and we're going to get into topics. And thanks everyone for being here. I'm really super excited about, I don't know why, but I'm really excited about Avatar Frontier of Pandora, which basically, the way I pronounced that sounded weird, but it's sort of a Far Cry ripoff. And in some of the previews, I watched Jack Frag and IGN did a early 2-hour preview, and they kind of showed the best of what they got to play. And something about it, Mag, got me really excited to like heavy bows, light bows. You got an LMG. You have free running, kind of like Dying Light 2 and Mirror's Edge, where your little blue hands with 4 fingers are like sprinting up tree trunks and doing like super leaps and stuff. And I don't know what it is. And maybe it's because I was the only one that loved the Avatar, James Cameron Avatar from the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. It was like a 65 out of 100, 6.5 out of 10. And I loved it. And I played it all the way through, basically almost 100% of it. I don't know. I just said a lot, but do you care about this game? Have you looked at the previews, chat? Let me know if you looked at the previews while Mag gives his 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I watched Skill Up. I'm a big fan of Skill Up on YouTube, and I really appreciate his reviews, because my goodness, this is not the kind of guy. I don't know if you guys watch Skill Up, but I mean, he's got almost 1 million subs. So I mean, I'm sure you bumped into him at some point. Yeah. And the thing is, I appreciate his attention to detail. This guy knows what he's talking about when he does a review, right? Or even a preview, for that matter. He doesn't just go in there, game's awesome, or game sucks, go buy it, don't buy it, this and that, whatever. And then, and then just call it a day. Thanks for giving me the code, blah, blah. No, this guy goes into a university level, essay paper of like how this game works, what all the little different things, all the different mechanics, how this affects that, how this affects this, these decisions you made, blah, blah. Anyways, he had a preview that he flew out to somewhere in Europe or whatever, and he played Avatar. He really liked it. He said there are a couple of things that he would like to see that they put in the final build, which I think he said he suspects they will. But as it stands, he said it's excellent. It's not as Far Cry-ish as you think.
Yeah,
he said
I feel the same.
That, Yeah, he said you would think that. He goes, but it actually isn't. He goes, it's actually much deeper than that and whatever. And he said it's a great game. He's really looking forward to it. It's one of his most anticipated. It wasn't even on my list of most anticipated until I started seeing more of it. Now, I do have some ties with Ubisoft, which I can't get into. But when the more I see of the game and whatever else, it just gets me more and more hyped. The other thing Skill Up talked about is that he said it's probably one of the most beautiful games he's ever seen. He said the graphics and the immersion in the world are some of the most stunning visuals you've ever seen, which of course adds to the immersion, right? Because I mean, if you feel like you're there, then that helps, being part of that world. And he said specifically, I think the jungle world. I think there's 3 different regions that you can play in, and he says the jungle one. He says it looks like it's straight out of the goddamn movie. He said,
it's got the nighttime bioluminescent stuff, and I'm right there with you and Skill Up on that. Where if a game looks really, really cool, like you just walk around and look at it and go into photo mode. But yeah, it looks, I don't know what it is.
Like it's part of it.
Mag, it's that last generation open world type game that we've always kind of liked. That there's just something about me that's drawn to that. Like it's what gets me to play Mirage when I'm feeling frustrated with Alan Wake's like Metroidvania type stuff where he's like, "Oh, I can't go that way. Guess I'll go look at the cork board." Well, the cork board doesn't tell me anything. And then I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this right now. Like, I just want to live in a world. I want to be there. I want to go around and kind of do my own organic thing. But I just wanted to say, sounds like you and I are excited for Avatar. I haven't really seen the chat. It looks cool. It looks cool.
And the other thing is too, is that they said it's co-op, right? So you get to play it with a friend.
Yeah.
So that's a huge bonus that you can have, just like the Far Cry games, like Far Cry. I think that Far Cry 5 was that the one that takes place in the southern U.S., like sort of in the countryside with the religious.
That's such a great game. Yeah.
Yeah. So
with the religious. Yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was 5. Yeah, that was 5. So I think I put in like 150 to 200 hours into that game with my wife, and we just went nuts. You know what I mean? I'd be like, all right, I'll be right there, honey. And I'd pull up in a Jeep and she jumps in and we're just blowing things up and having a great time. It was just so good. And now that we have a chance to do that in the world of Pandora, I'm even more excited. So I can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to play some co-op in that game. So I'm really excited. So I'm really excited for that game. And that will be the last game of the year, I believe, before we start setting our sights into 2024, right?
Yeah, there was a rumor that was kiboshed today that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Xbox on December 6th. And one of the lead communicators or the lead directors at Larian Studios for Baldur's Gate said, "This is news to me," and had like 9,000 likes.
How funny was that? They're like, "Yeah, it's coming in 2024. He's just like, "Hi, I made the game and I'm finding out about this." No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and he said we're trying to make it the best it can be on Xbox, which I immediately translate into we're making sure it runs the way it's supposed to on Series S. So, that's one of the topic lists, but there isn't much to say other than, I guess I should ask the audience, like, are you more excited? Actually, that would be a funny poll. I'm like, what tab am I on? Let me ask the audience, because a slight majority are saying they're not excited about Avatar. But this will be which is fine. Hey, more for us, right? So, which are you most excited for? So, if you're wondering what we're talking about on the show, I've got this new ticker tape at the bottom that gives you an idea of some of the major topic lists that Mag and I are going to talk about. So you kind of know what you're in for today. We have a good show. And which are you most excited for, I ask, and I'll say Baldur's Gate. I'm not going to write this stuff perfectly because we're live here on a show, or I'll just say Avatar. I keep writing Avatar. Start the poll. There it is. Let's see. Here we are. Sith Lord, who's been channel member for 12 months, messaging me like in the middle of the night. Like first thing when I wake up to feed my dogs. Sith Lord has a excited for the show DM, which is really, really super cool. He says, "Good evening, Colton, AI Mag. All Mag wants for Christmas is to be a real boy and bring joy to all the ponies across the land."
I am a real boy. Although occasionally I'm made out of wood. Carry on, Colteastwood.
Red Wolf says, "Let's get this ding-dang show on the ding-dang road." Yes, let's get into the topics.
That's a lot of foul language there, sir. Please calm yourself.
That's something that Red and I say. I'll text him. I said, "Man, it's been a ding dang day," and he'll say, "It's been a ding dang day for me too." KJors85 has been a channel member for 11 months. He says a little hello, and Darsanji with the 18-month tenure. There's the word. He says, Colteastwood, Halo's amazing, and we had super fun that night. He's another one that was in the chat that there was so much going on that I couldn't even clock everybody. Infinite Umbra goes, photo mode, which is an old meme we'll get into. All right, so let me set the show since I haven't quite done that. We're going to talk about, shoot, I had this on here. Let me just get your thoughts really quick. Love it or hate it, daylight savings. Go, Mag.
Doesn't really bother me. For someone who sleeps as lightly as I do, it doesn't really make a difference. I always had issues sleeping to begin with because I wake up at least 2, 3, 4 times a night to either go to the bathroom or get a drink of water because I'm always dehydrated. It's just a thing, and so it never really bothered me. I only sleep like a couple hours at a time. Well, see, the funny thing is
I wake up and I'm like peeing. I don't know how to. What's the motion for peeing? Whatever.
Well, I can't show you on this. Yeah.
Why does the sound have to be? Psst? It doesn't sound like that. Anyway.
Well, wow.
We'll get into that in another show, I think.
I can't even say half the things I was about to say. I had like 9 jokes lined up, and I'm like, well, you're gonna get demonetized, but hey, you know what it is. And I'm not David Jaffe. I'm not gonna come out with the F words and C words and everything else.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Yeah, he is something. He's hilarious.
So you don't mind daylight savings. I hate it.
Nah, it doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect me. And like I said, and then when I had my kids, them waking up every 3 hours literally had no effect on me because I was up every 3 hours anyway. So it didn't do anything. So daylight savings doesn't I don't wake up and all of a sudden I'm like, I do not know where I am anymore. I'm an hour different. It's doesn't affect me at all.
Don't you have dogs or don't you have a dog or anything?
No, I have cats.
Oh,
I have
cats don't care.
Cats.
My dog woke me up at 4 and he's like, it's 5 a.m. I'm like, no, it isn't.
Well, that's the same thing with kids too, right? Because kids will wake up when they normally wake up because of their, biological clock. It's not like they're sitting there going, oh, it's daylight savings, I better sleep an extra hour. That's not how it works. Same thing with pets. However, I have 2 Sphinx cats that they love us and they stay close because they always want to be warm. They don't really care. So yeah, it's a non-issue. But either way, do we have any gaming stuff to talk about other than daylight savings?
Next thing I want to talk about is buttered sausage. No,
I want to talk about buttered sausage. Let's talk about buttered sausage. What does it do? What is it looking for? Why does it get out of my face?
Let's talk about buttered sausage. Let's talk about Call of Duty. Everyone is super pissed. This game got a 4 out of 10 from IGN. No one can see past IGN's incredible review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. There's been a lot of talk about it. I have a very different opinion. Risk It for the Biscuit had a very emblazoned rant in his car on the way to work. He's on his way to the gas station or the petrol station to get some Kanga doodles. People are really mad. And before I give my opinion, Mag, how are you feeling about? There's a lot to unpack here. How are you feeling about Call of Duty's campaign reception and IGN especially?
Listen, IGN can do whatever they want. That doesn't affect my life. Like they can give everything 3 out of 10s for all I care. It literally does not faze me. And I just look at that. The thing is, what I look at, and this is what I did the day that their review came out, and this was where I wanted to see what the community was saying. So I put out a tweet and I said, "Hi, community. Can you tell me from your perspective how the game is?" I struggled to find anybody that said that the campaign was good.
Okay.
And the best I got was it was okay at best, right? And then I had hundreds of responses, right? And yes, I did go through all of them because I was sitting there reading. I was just in bed scrolling through and reading them. And I'm just like, okay, so this thing is not good. It doesn't mean that it's a 4. But who am I to say what someone else's number is going to be, right? So, I could say it's a 9. You could say it's a 2. I'd be like, all right, dude, that you do you, I'll do me, whatever. But the thing is, It's being backed up by the players, and I'm talking to the players. I'm speaking because I don't care. I'm not, IGN gets paid for what they do. That's fine. I don't want to listen to that. I want to listen to the people in the trenches. I want to listen to the people like the people in our chat right now. I want to listen to those people because those are the ones who turn the game on and are playing it, paying their hard-earned money for it, not IGN or GameSpot or Eurogamer or whatever else, and all those other guys who get their codes for free. These are the people that give their hard-earned money for the game. I want to hear what they got to say. And what I got from them is that it's not good. That's all. And so I haven't played it myself, but I struggle to want to have to pay like over $110 for this game if it's not great, because my big thing is, yes, I play the multiplayer. Yes, I'm actually pretty damn good. I love zombies mode. I love the zombies mode. But I don't know what's going on with those. All I know, but the thing is, the campaign is where I spend the majority of my time. What I like to do is I go in and I play it on normal so I can enjoy the story. I can enjoy the story, whatever else. Then I go back and play it on veteran so I can get all the achievements for that. And then I go and then I do the mop-up achievements for each level, like, finish the Jeep sequence in like 38 seconds or less or whatever, blah, 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 right? Kill 5 guys with 1 grenade and da-da-da-da. So I go back and do all those and mop up all those achievements. And then when I'm done all that, I'll go and play the multiplayer, and then I play zombies because I adore zombies, and I love playing multiplayer with people in the community, whatever else. However, this is not a great start. So when you've got a campaign where I like to spend the majority of, like, at least I would say about 25 hours in the campaign, because usually the campaigns are about 5 to 7 hours, give or take, whatever. And I'll go back multiple times to do it, right?
Jeez.
And you think about a veteran, you're not finishing that in 5 to 7 hours. Veteran will take you double that, because 2 bullets and you're dead, right? You die a lot. So it takes a lot longer to go through it again the next time.
That's a lot of wartime quotes, to be reading
I know.
blood screen.
Yeah, with the blood screen. So
I've always liked the campaigns. Like, I always thought they were like the little Michael Bay experience, but I'm always glad when they're done for the most part. I'm like, okay, I finished this year's Call of Duty. That was cool. I'd never thought about going back and replaying them for achievements, because I feel like those big set piece moments were already spoiled the first time around. But one of the problems with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is 2 weeks after Xbox acquired Activision, officially truly owns them, this is 100% a first-party release game for Xbox Game Studios by all technicalities. And when I said that, people got angry because they're like, Xbox had nothing to do with this, which has always been kind of the yin and the yang of the argument. Like, Xbox had nothing to do with Redfall. It was already in the work. They didn't make Starfield. It was already in the works. People pick and choose what belongs to Xbox, which is according to their narrative. But when it releases under their watch, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is an Xbox game, and so it will bring down their overall score. The problem with IGN is some of these outlets have decided to review the campaign and the multiplayer completely separate. So the campaign gets a 4, and then they'll give the multiplayer a 6.5 or something. And a lot of Xbox fans are angry that this is a new narrative, that they have to push out that banner that Xbox cannot get a high score. Now that it belongs to Xbox, now that Xbox's name is attached to it, the Call of Duty campaign is going to get a 4 when people are saying it was a really good campaign. I also talked to 2 semi-prominent YouTube game reviewers that said it's the worst campaign they've done in a long time, but they both said, I don't even really think it's a 4. It's kind of a 6 or a 7 even. And I'm like, what? And I've heard people say it's really great, but I've also heard all the people that you've heard, Mag, that say, this is not a good Call of Duty campaign. And I would stand here, I've not played it. I have not even loaded it up. I have it installed. I haven't even bothered because we talked in the beginning of the show how busy we are with other games.
Sure.
I am totally okay with saying I haven't played it, but from what I've heard from the masses, it's not a good game. And if you're going to see 4s, 5s, and 6, that's fine. Now, Riskit makes a good point among all of his other things he was saying. The one thing I could really resonate with him is he says, okay, this statement I'm about to say, there's not a definitive proof to it, but I agree to it, okay? Riskit said, 4s are normally reserved for broken, buggy, and unplayable games. And I would agree with him, but that number means nothing to anyone but yourself. But I would think that most of us would think they gave Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 a 4 because it was so broken and so horrid and so unenjoyable that you just can't even play it. And I have a hard time believing a 4 is rational, but it's their review. Who cares? It's IGN's number, and you and I are in the same camp. IGN gave it a 4. All through that, you and I were like, we didn't talk this week, right? But I was great. They gave it a 4.
Talk. The day that I think I did send you a message. I think that day that the review came out. Or no, we talked on Twitter. Sorry, we didn't talk privately.
Yeah,
we came in contact on Twitter at some point. The thing is, ignoring the numbers and everything else, right? My problem is, even if you give the game a 5 or a 6 or a 7, what I got from it is that if IGN gives it, I'm like, okay, it's a 4. They're saying it's bad. That's why I reached out to ask the community to see what they think. I'm like, okay, well, you don't just do that because it's on Xbox or whatever, right? Or they're upset at this and that and whatever. Oh, they're unhappy with the acquisition, therefore they're going to give the games a bad thing. So that's why I asked the community. I said, listen, guys, gals, everybody, what do you guys think about the game? And like I said, it was a resounding dud across the board. Everybody was like, it's not very good. It's not good. I heard some people say it's okay. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but the game is like $105 or $106. Not $110, excuse me. It's $105 or $106.
It's full price. It's full price. Okay. Yeah, that's all you got to say.
I'm not going to pay $105, $106 Canadian and Australian and in Europe, US. You guys are paying what, 70? So
yes,
because of the dollar. I'm not going to pay that for an okay experience or a not so great experience. That's ridiculous, right? So I'm not buying the game. I'm not buying Call of Duty. I'm not going to spend $100+ on a mediocre experience. That's stupid. And so I'm like, okay. And let's say one aspect of it is great. Let's say the multiplayer is awesome. But now I'm hearing they're just recycling a whole bunch of maps from Modern Warfare 2, and they're doing some upgrades to already existing maps. And then they're saying that zombies is basically just zombies in the Warzone map that already exists. And I'm like,
okay. I heard they even use some areas from the Warzone map, and like it was very clear, according to a friend of mine that finished the game, that they used portions of the Warzone map, they threw together, and they just kind of phoned in a lot of stuff, and they were under the gun. I think what happened is Activision said, look, we're about to be bought. Let's get one more game out and earn a little bit of money before we're sold off. And you saw the same thing with ZeniMax and Bethesda. They pumped out Wolfenstein Youngblood, Fallout 76, and then they were working on Redfall to try and get some games as a service revenue out the door to boost up the value proposition to be purchased, and it ended up going the other way around. And Xbox got them for cheaper than they probably would have before. But
sure. Ghost GDL in the chat here says feels like DLC. Well, actually, I'm glad you said that. You know why? Because earlier in the year, they did say that there was no Call of Duty coming this year. They literally said it was just going to be a DLC expansion to Modern Warfare 2. They were taking a year off, and then they were going to release another mainline Call of Duty in 2024. Then all of a sudden, out of magic, like a month later, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, it's going to be a full-priced campaign. We're doing actually a full game. And I'm like, how did that turnaround happen so quickly? That doesn't make any sense. It just immediately I knew they were completely full of crap at that point.
When I heard they were going to take the shift from DLC to a full release, like immediately that was the red flags. Welcome Powerman 4K, who became a channel member. I snuck in the Xbox Series X icon that I saw on Twitter that the official Xbox account, or whatever you call it, is using, and I just threw it into. You used to get the Joanna Dark picture, I think, when you join the channel membership. But I changed it to a Series X that actually Xbox drew. The rest I drew, but I thought, hey, they're kind of cool looking. So now you can tell if you see somebody with the Series X channel membership badge that they just joined. So welcome, Power Man. That's early access to videos. Like when I put up a video, I put it out at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, the night before, and you can check it out. And you can make a comment and say, Colt's ugly. Somebody like tried to make an insult right before the show went up, and I was like, "Oh, I recognize that guy. He hates Gaz, and he's probably not a very happy person."
Who doesn't though? I mean, it's Gaz here. The thing is, the thing is actually, and by the way, thank you for joining the channel. I gotta say that if you get to the top tier, that's when you get the keys to the OnlyFans channel that Colt and I have been starting up. So you get to see all of that. It's actually a lot of fun.
It's a lot of pictures of two bare feet touching or crossing toes. Just some high quality stuff. Yeah. and it's all AI generated as well. We're going to talk about AI as well today, which is kind of an interesting conversation. Before we do, since we're talking about Activision Blizzard, I sat down to watch the BlizzCon keynote 2-hour live stream on my day off on Friday. Somebody in the community was like very, very sure that they were going to reveal the Odyssey survival MMO game from Blizzard, which would be a big deal. We would find out if it would be exclusive. It never got shown at all. And
you and I both talked about it. Remember that? Like, was it last week or the week before?
It was last week because we were looking in 4 or 5 days was going to be BlizzCon when we talked at the end of the show. Was there anything memorable for you? Because there's a lot of Blizzard games that I haven't grown up on, like the World of Warcraft stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a Blizzard guy. I played Diablo 3 at some point. And then I think there was, and then of course I was gonna play Diablo 4, but Diablo 4 came out at a time where I had a bunch of stuff that you remember, like in the spring we had a bunch of great releases come out, and so Diablo 4 came out like a week after all those great spring releases. There was like Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil 4 remake, Dead Island 2. They all came out at the same time
for Diablo.
And then
4,
all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden, like a week later, Diablo 4 came out. I'm like, and I'm like, you know what? I'll put that on the back burner. And then what ends up happening? It's been like that all year. It's been like that all year. It's like the year of back burner games, right? But then the funny thing is, then all of a sudden Microsoft acquired ABK, and I'm like, well, now I'm definitely not buying it because they're going to put it in the service at some point. Then I'll play Diablo 4. And the other thing is, by the time it gets into the service, it'll have at least a year of community notes, patches, performance patches and everything else, right? And quality of life things that'll be put in the game, that the game will be 10 times better by the time it goes into the Game Pass subscription, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Like, for example, Alan Wake 2. That's another one. They released that patch that fixed... did you hear about this? 200 plus glitches and issues were fixed in the last patch. And I'm like... Oh,
yeah, the first patch I got...
insane.
The first patch I got for Alan Wake still didn't fix the audio desync issues when you go into a cutscene. You know, their voice was way ahead of their mouth moving.
Yeah. I heard about that.
Gosh, that game looks so terrible in performance mode, but when I go to quality mode, I can't stand the juddering camera. That's such a bummer that the consoles are really getting pushed.
They're working on it still. Like by the time I get to Alan Wake, it'll be patched to hell. And so like everything, all those little like issues and details or whatever. Again, I'm not a beta tester, so like the way that I see the games these days,
right?
Think about it, man. Think about it. All these games that keep coming out, whoever plays it at launch is basically a beta tester because every game that comes out. When was the last game that came out? And the funny thing is, if you think about it, Sony, who used to be famous for releasing damn near perfect games, right? Have been releasing games that just aren't finished. I mean, well, they're finished, but I mean, they have issues, right? Like your Spider-Man, and then
it's getting worse.
Right?
Sony has done a better job of releasing games.
Oh, they were
way
better than anybody else. Well, actually, no, excuse me, Nintendo as well. But Nintendo's games are far more simplistic. So. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of moving parts, but not as many moving parts as, like, let's say, an Alan Wake 2 or a Spider-Man 2. You know, put that up against Animal Crossing. Are you kidding me? I can run Animal Crossing on a Tamagotchi, for Christ's sake. So the thing is, at the end of the day, is like they were known for releasing absolutely perfect, polished games, or except for the only one that I saw from last generation that was a problem was Days Gone. Other than that, the other ones were all damn near perfect. I didn't say perfect, so don't get excited, folks. But near perfect. But look at them now. Now you're playing. Whoever plays in the first month, you're basically a beta tester.
Yeah, and that goes into when we're going to talk about AI because there's a lot that might be supplemented or fixed. I mean, we went off topic, but the BlizzCon stuff, the only
right.
thing that really came out of it was some quotes that showed up over the past day or so, where Mike Ibarra said, quote, games planned coming to console before acquisition. They're asking specifically, like, where is World of Warcraft or these other games? Like, can you bring those to console? And Mike Ibarra said that they've been planning on doing that before. He goes, now that we're with Microsoft and Xbox, it's definitely something that they've been planning for a while, and now they can facilitate that. He says the creative independence opening to create they are open to creating single player, non-live service experiences, like true single player Blizzard games. He says that's what I really mean when I talk about the new era of possibilities of empowerment, serving players even better than we ever have. And Phil Spencer also said that he wants Blizzard to become more like the independent studio it once was. And it goes against everybody saying that Xbox is responsible for Activision and Modern Warfare 3 being a failure, when they've said over and over that they want those studios to do what they do without any interference from Xbox. I think Xbox just needs to be able to stand up there and say, can we do some QA, QC? Can we look at, make sure things are working the way they're supposed to? Today we got an announcement that Xbox made a partnership with In-World AI. And this is different from what we saw last week with PlayStation. You said they had partnered with an AI company to do AI solutions, basically. This is a full-on AI content creation tool. Did you read into this, Mag? This In-World partnership?
Yeah, there's my issues here. When it comes to all this, I'm going to blanket statement this just to keep it very simple. I do have a lot of thoughts on it, but it's going to be hard to sort of express everything that I'm thinking about and feeling until I absorb all this information properly. However, I'll give you my overall view, and my overall view is this: the more that you put in AI, yes, it will benefit the customer in terms of being able to get the product out quicker. For example, right? They'll be able to problem solve a lot quicker. They'd be able to patch things a lot quicker, be able to move the product along, finish animations, be able to do what the hell is it called? The visual concepts and stuff like that before the game's even released.
The image generation, concept art.
Yeah, concept art and everything else. They'll be able to do that in like seconds. Right? So it will cut years off of development time. So so if you got a game that takes 5 or 6 years, which is already borderline lunacy, right? It'll cut it down to like 3 to 4, right? Maybe even 3.5, whatever, right? Like some kind of a happy medium. However, the problem with that is that every time that you implement AI, someone's losing a job. So remember that. Someone's losing a job. Now, there's a counter argument there. And the counter argument is, well, you go to the grocery store and there's 25 cashiers, right? Whatever. And there's only one person working and there's 24 empty ones. And then what do they got going off? The self-checkout. It's all AI. They took all those jobs away, right? So there's that too. The other thing is that, give me 1 second here, Colt.
Okay. I was going to actually pop up a couple images here. I was doing some AI generation. Some guy was. This can be a really touchy subject because AI can quite literally reduce jobs, and Mag set that up really well when he said, "You got concept artists that spend a month on some concept art. If they do 3 pieces, the director will say, look, we're trying to do this." Retro future type world that in our game. And we need I need buildings that look like they're futuristic, but let's say you're concepting Fallout, but they kind of look like they're stuck in the 50s, but everything's futuristic. Or I need a steampunk world. And an artist will build this stuff and they'll take a month to do a couple of drawings. And I can do that with the right words and the right descriptors in 30 to 60 seconds. And this could be a job that needs to go away. Matt Booty also talked 2 years ago about how they really want to lean into AI to do bug testing, play testing. He said they spend thousands of hours of people time, labor time of people playing and bugging and breaking and pushing the limits of a game, making sure you can't hop over a fence and fast track a quest. And they could have AI sit and do that when they go to bed at night. And
again, Colt, that's a job. That's a job. That's 6 to 12 jobs that those people will no longer have. Now, we do have to face facts that people are going to continue to lose jobs as technology gets better and gets more efficient. Cars are being made without people.
Yes.
Grocery stores, it's all checkout now. I went to, I know you guys got like a few down there, but obviously, Tim Hortons up here is obviously much bigger than up here, in Starbucks or whatever else. Right? So Tim Hortons, you walk into Tim Hortons coffee shop, and I walked in the one near my house, and they've got a giant screen that greets you when you walk in the door, and it says,
"Really?
Please place your orders here." There's nobody at the cashier anymore. So they don't even have a but you know what? That's also because they keep raising minimum wage, and the company's like, we're not paying this for people for these jobs. It's crazy now. They just keep every year it goes up $1, $1.50, another $1, and they're like, forget it. So they'd rather invest in the computer system. So you walk in there, you press the thing, you press your order, you go up and you pick it up. So there's not even a cashier anymore. So you pay right there on the screen. And so the thing is that it's wild at the end of the day is that when AI gets implemented in video games, sure, the customer is going to benefit from it. And sure, the company is certainly going to benefit from it because they're not paying all these people
We're going to benefit from it. I mean, you and I can posture like the good and the bad of it because in my regular job, I do graphics and do production and stuff. And some of the stuff I do, not much of it, but could be done with the assistance of AI or could be done by AI, right? And so I have a right to be concerned about my future job or people that I work with. But you're right. The reality is, as technology moves up, like, this is always going to happen. The other thing is, us as gaming fans, it's taking 5 to 6 years for games to be created. And if you can cut a year of the development time by having AI do bug testing, QA, QC, because what it'll do is it'll do most of the work, and then you have very few instead of dozens of people check that work and do some manual labor on that and make sure everything looks good. I saw a video today where they fully implemented an AI companion in Skyrim. I'll paint the picture for you because if you go watch the guy's video, it will drive you insane. This YouTuber, normally I can be a good person. I wanted to slap him across my OLED TV. But what he did was he installed this AI companion, like when you go to all of you who played Skyrim, when you go to Whiterun, you pick up Lydia and she's like, I was sworn to bear your burdens, and you offload all your gear in her backpack so that you can make a bunch of money, right? So he asked the AI companion, whose name was Harika was her name, and he says, hey, Harika, can you carry my items without complaining that like Lydia does? And she goes, oh, and she names him by his name character, which he wrote in the game, so it reads it. The cool thing about this AI is it was happening so fast. It wasn't a 10-second reply like when I'm in my car and I say, hey, Google, my phone will listen to me if I say the real thing. What's the weather today? And it goes, yes, the weather is 31 degrees, right? So he was like, hey, Harika, will you carry my items without complaining? She goes, I assume you're being funny. My name is Harika. It's pronounced Harika. And he kept calling her Harika. And she said, my name's not Erica. It's Harika. And then he would ask her questions like, where did you come from? And it would look back. The AI would look back and give her a backstory. And he could just talk to her about whatever. He even made a joke about, what's the stupid thing about I used to be a warrior, but I took an arrow to the knee. And she goes, ha, 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 using the old tired joke about the arrow to the knee. And he asked her a question, should I steal? He goes, hey, Harika, should I steal this horse? Like, he's in the headset playing it on PC, and it's just picking it up in the mic, and she's replying back as fast as a normal person. Like, it was
as
almost
if you and
like,
I are doing this podcast.
except more entertaining. She was responding as quickly as if Somebody was on the other end of the internet pretending to be AI. It was that fast. And he said, should I steal this horse? And she said, well, why don't you go on foot? You'll get better exercise and you'll get to see the countryside. And she said, actually, I'm partial to unicorns and our horses. And he goes, Erica, are there unicorns in Skyrim? She goes, well, there are if you mod it. And he thought it was funny that she broke the fourth wall. But
wow,
this is just a look into what they could do with games that take 6 years. 6+ years to games. Like, how much could you shave off if you're doing concept art? I know I'm talking a lot, Meg. There's a lot to say about this, but imagine you hire a great voice actor to voice act a character, and he does all these super important mainline voice dialogues, and then you imprint the rest. Like if Troy Baker does the voice of Jimmy the Warrior, you can ask him questions that are off script, and he'll answer them voice printed, which will sound just like him, but it will work within the parameters of the AI in your programming. It could really change open world RPGs in a way that we've never imagined. Sure.
But I also like to throw caution to the wind that people have to be careful that this is the beginning of what's going to eventually, it's what I like to call back like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when they started implementing that stuff in like I said, like the self-checkouts and everything on stores, and people were like directing me to those areas. No, don't come here. Just go over there and do over there. And I literally said to one person, I said, you realize you're literally, the company is training you to talk yourself out of a job. And actually, I wanted to mention something here in the chat here. LS in the chat says, he goes, also this, where the hell did he say? Oh, he goes, this partnership, by the looks of it, isn't about replacing jobs, but as a tool that devs have an option to use.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, very well said.
You're absolutely 100% correct. However, never underestimate the nefarity of a corporation. When it comes to that, when they realize that they don't have to pay a voice actor or don't have to pay a developer to do all this extra work, they will trim the fat, mark my words. And you're already seeing it happen now. After the pandemic, Microsoft slashed 16 or however many thousand jobs.
10,000 jobs or something.
10,000? I think it's more than that. And Apple did the same thing, and Google did the same thing. Thousands and thousands and thousands of redundant jobs that were replaced by AI technology. Don't think that that's not going to happen in the gaming world, because the corporation doesn't care about you. They care about making money, and what they will do is, if they don't have to pay the voice actor $5,000 to be able to do those lines, they could get the bloody AI to do it for them for free. Not for free, excuse me, for the but at least for the initial sort of upfront payment they had to do for the technology, like the investment. Excuse me, I couldn't think of the damn word.
Yeah, or whatever they pay to have access to super fast servers that do this, and
they're doing their
what
own
you're
now.
saying. It's not like evil mustache twirling studios that are going to be doing this, because a few months ago, that Blue Number, my wife, and Dante Moody and I went to the Paramount movie studio tour, and they do this guided tour, and they show you how everything works behind the scenes, and it ruined movie making for me in a way I wasn't expecting, because I realized that the studio lot is a work complex, and they treat everything, every little detail, as an expense. And when the actors are there, they have to be there at a certain time, and everything costs a certain amount of money. They'll go and record something in the back by a propane tank because it'll save them money. It's all about making the most money with the least amount of investment put in. And game studios are exactly that, right?
And what have they been complaining about, Colt? What have they been complaining about? Both Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have been complaining about
the increasing costs of unsustainable AAA games.
Thank you very much. Playing right into the hands. They're literally setting you up. By the way, the chat, you guys are absolutely hilarious. You guys have to read all the things about Mag being an AI, being replaced by AI. Mag should be my Siri voice. Guys, you guys are so... I'm trying to have like...
I would love that. That would be hilarious.
I'm trying to have like an actual conversation with you, and I can't, because I look at the chat and I just start laughing. They're like, Meg is probably AI by now.
I mean, AI isn't far off. I saw a video where a guy was singing a song in his truck, and he bumped something on his phone, and the Google Assistant came up, and he yelled, "Mother effing Google blank, blank, blank." And then as he was turning his truck, the Google's, "You don't have to be so rude."
Yeah, exactly, right? And guess what's next, kids? Yeah, isn't that wild?
Skynet.
Thank you. They're going to become self-aware. They're going to see the threat. They're going to launch their missiles. Then the other ones are going to launch their missiles. And then Schwarzenegger's going to be standing there at my door, okay? And then he's going to be going, Anaconda. And I'm like, no, I'm a dude. And it's like, well, how do I know that? It's 2023. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But anyways, and then I get shot.
It's not
anyway
even that. The first thing they do is they put us through like sausage grinders and turn us into fuel. That's going to be like the worst part as we get like loaded into the machine.
Exactly, or else we're going to be batteries like the Matrix. It's going to be naked Colt and naked Mag in our little pods. We're going to get flushed out.
Sucking my thumb.
Yeah, exactly. Lawrence Fishburne's going to save me, obviously, being the the chosen one, and all that, and then that's it. Yeah. So,
but
this is the slippery slope,
barring all the doom and gloom, like I could be excited about an interactive, NPCs. Like it could be really cool.
It will be.
I'm also really excited about if it cuts game time down. And some guy kind of yelled at me on social media today about how I said I have a right to be concerned about people's jobs, but still I guess I have to add that to the end of the sentence that obviously it's going to happen. I mean, those of you who are here watching, thank you for being here. I know it's kind of a weird show and we're talking about AI, but a lot of you grew up
This
in
is
the
important.
80s and 90s, right? And we watched technology, like our technology being something this big, playing our music with AA batteries in it, a mechanical device, and now it's like it's on the cloud, and things have gotten really great. But Meg and I were talking off the air a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Oh, my Walmart, we don't have any checkout people. Like it's one big bullpen full of an array of self checkouts. I don't think there's a single conveyor belt." And I think it was you that said you guys have a few in your Walmart by you.
Well, they're renovating a new one, and they're creating like a flagship superstore near my house, and it's going to be the full like technologically advanced Walmart, and it's going to be the most technologically advanced Walmart in Canada, whatever, blah blah blah. And it's going to be this whole thing where eventually you don't even have to scan; you just actually bring the stuff through, and it actually reads it right through a bag. So like you can just walk out the door and it automatically charge, like almost like Star Trek or something. They just charge credits. You walk out of the store. You know what I mean? Or actually, no, excuse me. Star Trek doesn't have currency. But one of these different. Yes, by the way, Froggy T, right? This is a Nightmare Before Christmas mug. It is the season.
Nice.
But yeah,
nice.
Anyway, the thing is, absolutely. This is something, not now, it may not be now, and it will be something that will actually be beneficial. Be like, oh man, they did all this really cool implementation, whatever. Look at Hollywood. Let me find out any writer is not completely full of crap that they don't use ChatGPT for a lot of their scripts to help bulk up like their ideas, right? Or maybe they get ideas from ChatGPT. I can't even say it, GPT. And they put the ideas out there. The AI spits out a bunch of stuff, and then they take that stuff and then they correlate like a script out of it, and they work with it. And the AI is not good enough to write a script. You still need the human element, but don't think for 1 second that they aren't using it for those purposes as well. Now,
I had my friend who pays for ChatGPT. I said, "Hey, can you ask ChatGPT to write me a video script on Unreal Engine 5 running on Xbox Series X?" And he goes, "Okay." And I maybe I told this story a couple weeks ago, but I'll cut to the best part. Was it the script? It said, "I cannot write you a video, but I can write a script for you." And it said, "Hello, I'm Colteastwood. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Unreal Engine 5 running on Xbox Series X." And then it started with the topic. It was like super cheesy the way a younger YouTuber would do it. It's like,
sure, yeah.
We're no strangers to blah blah blah. Like I was so sick. I mean, it was even more cheesy than I am. Excuse me. I'm going to put some images up on the screen. I just need a second because Bing AI put these images up in a slightly different format. I'm going to put these up on screen. Go
AI
ahead.
cannot replicate me at all. It's logically impossible. You're correct. You know why? Because I'm too unpredictable. 1 minute I say this, 1 minute the computer can never figure out what I'm about to say next. So you're absolutely right there. I wanted to say one
Excuse
thing
me.
here.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be the kind of thing where what's eventually going to happen, and this is going to, like I said, it's going to benefit the customer, it's going to benefit the company, but not the people. That's my bottom line here. That's where I was going to wrap it up and just say, listen, they're going to cut development times for AAA big bangers down to 3 years, but they're going to do it with half the staff. right? So overall, they're going to be making more money. And the other thing is, too, let's also face it, don't think that Microsoft specifically, and they've been pushing for this for 20 plus years of going all digital, which is what they've wanted from the beginning. You go back and you look at some of those stories about, what's his face there? What's his name? The CEO, the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates. And about his... all that kind of stuff about him pushing for that all digital future and everything else, right? Don't think that that's not going to cut costs as well. They don't want to make physical copies anymore. You think they want to do that anymore? They want it out, because then they can absolutely manipulate the market to whatever prices they want, how they want, when they want, whenever they want. And then on top of that, having half the staff doing double the work, not double the work, excuse me, having double the production time, the speed anyway, and then having half the cost associated with it. This is a dream come true for them. So that's why I'm saying it's wonderful, but be warned that this is not going to end well for a lot of people. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to get that out before I forgot.
No, I'm glad you did while I was putting this really horrible collage together that's not up to my normal graphics standards that I want to do, but I'm going to put up these images and kind of explain to you like how I came about them. I think it's funny. We'll kind of play a little guessing game here where you can kind of figure out what I'm supposed to be showing here. Give me a second here. Because I've been using Bing AI to supplement some of this, when I'm trying to make a thumbnail for a video or for like a game that hasn't truly been shown before, you can write their scripters based on like what you know about the game. This is going to come in and cover the screen. Okay. So yeah, it's going to cover the screen. So let me make sure that it's up when we get here when it catches up. So these descriptors I put in were like for Xbox games that are upcoming or in the works. And I'm waiting for it to show up here on the other screen here. But what I did was I wrote some words, and if you look at these, you probably know maybe what games I'm trying to talk about when I have these up. So over here on the left, it could be a couple different games, but I wrote like fantasy warrior with a sword overlooking a beautiful mountain valley with a dragon in the sky above him. Cinematic lighting, ultra realistic. Okay. And what you'd get is either an Avowed or an Elder Scrolls picture. Now, if a concept artist would spend a week building this in Painter Pro or Photoshop or something like that. So this is crazy. The second one is I wrote 1970s muscle car cop chase with bullets flying in a Mediterranean location. And this, I don't know if you know what that is, Mag, but this is supposed to be give me an image for Contraband. Okay?
Sorry, that description just made me laugh. Sorry, that was really funny.
It is. It's funny when you write them, right?
It's funny with the way you said it. Just sounds so absurd. But yeah, carry on.
Right. and then the one on the right that's slightly covered up was like female zombie killer in a post-apocalyptic world. Sorry. This one did like an illustrative style. This could be like Undead Labs State of Decay 3. And it's part of it's covered up, but the detail's really cool. Of course, and then down in the bottom left, you have Joanna Dark, modern Joanna Dark in leather jacket, short red hair, holding a pistol, overlooking a futuristic Egyptian city.
Woo, she's hot as hell in that picture. Oh, my Lord in heaven. Sorry, carry on. Yep.
It's funny that if anybody has followed my channel or stuff that I've done with Go Live with Game On Daily, like the first time I tried to get this Joanna Dark picture, it was so horrid. It looked like an abomination from the nether regions of hell and robotic dystopia, that this is so much better. And then, of course, the middle picture is blue vault suit, holding a rifle, cinematic, whatever. And then the last one was a description for South of Midnight. I said a female.
Jesus,
man, these girls are hot. These girls
they're
are hot.
man. I'm gonna go with bottom left and bottom right. Like, I am a fan right now of AI. I mean, and let's face it, this is some AI I can get behind. Pause. Anyways, let's carry on with the show.
I mean, maybe we need AI to kind of supplement some of the plain characters they've been making. You know, Peter Parker doesn't look like he could beat the crap out of anybody. Doesn't look like an amazing hero. Maybe you need AI to make them a little more you have a little more gusto. But yeah, this is a South of Midnight description. Looks like there's like a bunny on the dock there. But I think I wrote like Southern Swamp standing on a dock. I just described how do I turn this off? There, we're back to us. I was trying to describe the trailer. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is really super powerful. Right now, you can't really make stuff that's in motion that easily. It's not really super amazing, but it's crazy. Skill Will says, what AI system? I think for most of those, I use Bing. And I was using Leonardo AI, which is a free browser-based one. And then I found Bing was just so much better. It's really...
Yeah, Colt, can you put those pictures back up? I'm burning them into my mind. Thank you.
Well, hold on, right there. I'll put them up for a couple seconds. Wait, where's the button? Right there.
I want the Joanna Dark and the South of Midnight girls, please. You know what? Do me a favor. Make a picture and put them both in the same picture, like just kind of like next to each other. Perhaps playing with each other's hair or something like that. If you can get that done, I will put that into
I could actually query something like that for you. But it's $20 per
I gotta tell you, man,
fantasy picture for Mag.
Short hair and long braided hair are that's my two things right there. So I mean, I need that in one picture. Make that happen, and then AI can take over the world for all I care. Just keep giving me content like that. Anyways, carry on.
10U says give a like. Yeah, I haven't asked, but yeah, if you're enjoying the show, I know it's kind of quirky when we're talking about AI. There's kind of some different roads to take talking about it, but hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. We're also on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts on demand. You can listen to the show when you want. You don't have to look at our faces when you get the audio only version. So I don't know if that's a bonus. I think it's actually
that's a 4 out of 10 without our faces. Yeah, IGN gave us a 4 out of 10 with no faces. So let's let's get those numbers back. Those are rookie numbers. Let's get those back. Pump them up.
Yeah. Afonso says, Colt, give us the AI descriptors. Saying cinematic lighting and ultra realistic seem to help, but you got to kind of like what you're picturing. You have to describe it. Like I'll say like something about like in the background. But yeah, I've made a few of these, and the chat's getting crazy.
Let's see them. They're starting to skill at will. Calm down over there. Yeah.
Red Wolf says, will Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox have cross save from Steam or PC? I don't think so, but I'm not sure what they do.
I don't know that either. I don't have the answer to that. But you'll find. I guess we could find. Well, I mean, what's the only way we can find it? I mean, we could just check it out. Someone in the chat, look it up. See if there's anything, any news on that yet.
I mean there are some games that are doing this, but it's not a norm yet.
God Silver King says the PlayStation. Yep.
What's that? The PlayStation?
I was going to say on the PlayStation side of things, there's not going to be any cross progression between that and Steam. At least I don't think so. So yeah, I would imagine maybe between Xbox and PC, I could see, but
like Cyberpunk has it, but they have you scan a QR code, which is pretty cool then. But yeah, CD Projekt Red's always been about, we want you to do what you want to do. They're, most companies aren't like that. Ubisoft started to do a little bit of that cross save stuff too. So it is a good question that Red Wolf's asking, because it has happened a little bit.
Yeah.
God Emperor Sofa King says RoboCop better than Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake, and Starfield.
Oh, I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, I know I already made that joke, but I mean,
I think it's funny that there's
one of my favorite movies of the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really grow up on the movie, but in the game, there's no iron sights. It's just like that 45-degree angle, like bang, bang, bang with that gun.
It doesn't matter. That's how RoboCop used to show. Well, I mean, he had the aiming system, right? Where he could like zoom in and then just go bam, 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 and then take them all out. But like, man, RoboCop was my thing. I know every line of that movie, which of course I can't say half the lines because the best lines are from Clarence Boddicker, and every second word of Clarence Boddicker is the F word. So it's really funny. But
I remember the car theft system early on in the movie, like in one of the opening scenes where the guy sits in the car to steal it and it just electrocutes him alive. And I remember
that was the second movie.
That was the second one.
That was the second one. The first one, they didn't. The goofy ones that they had, like the goofy the commercials and stuff for like some of the toys and things like that. Like they had the Nuke game in it. That was funny. But yeah, no, those games are. I mean, I'd go with games. That movie is amazing. Even
who was behind those? Who's behind the making of those movies? Was it
Paul Verhoeven? Paul Verhoeven he's a genius. The guy did RoboCop. He did Starship Troopers. He did a whole bunch of he did a whole, like very quirky sci-fi movies that had a lot of social commentary. And I mean, RoboCop is literally just a social commentary about the excess of the '80s and stuff like that, right? So it's just what a great movie. If you watch the director's unrated cut, God damn it, is it ever violent? So it's really good. But anyways, back to the story. Yeah, thank you, Dead Time. Bitches leave. Can you fly, Bobby? That's one of my favorite.
Oh, is that another line from it? That's funny because then I don't really know RoboCop because I only have the I'll buy that for $1 thing stuck in my head from.
You have some homework this week. You got to go back and watch.
I also extensively played the NES game, which was not a good game, but I couldn't stop playing it. Danny Passion Official, thanks for the $2 super. He says, I refunded Modern Warfare 3 campaign. It didn't cost me $70 to me, and he still gives it a 6 out of 10. Like, what did he do? He finished it and was able to still get a refund, which is...
Oh, that's crazy because that means you rip... Well, the thing is, isn't there a time limit? Like, you can only play the game for X amount of hours, and then they give you the refund?
I thought Xbox had the same thing as Steam. It's a 3-hour time limit. Man, you'd really have to push hard to get through that in under 3. I think 3.5 is the lowest I've seen, but he did it. Dean Rivera, thank you for the $5. He says, I've beaten it, and it was a solid time. I'd say it's a 7. The quality's there. It took me 5 hours, and it felt on par with other Call of Duty's linked. Well, I've also heard that Call of Duty didn't have a lot of big set pieces, or the ones that weren't all that memorable. But I mean, sometimes I don't often give games a 7, and I've still kind of like 7. So who knows? Powerman 4K, I got him. God Empress Sofa King says Black Ops 4 had no campaign. Oh, I forgot about that.
I didn't buy that one either.
IGN gave it an 85, and I don't remember Black Ops 4's multiplayer being particularly amazing. At least I don't remember everybody talking about it like they did Black Ops 2.
I did. I got a refund on that. Actually, that's funny that we kind of dovetailed right into that super chat. I did get Black Ops 4 because I kind of fell for the reviews. They're saying, you know what, even without the campaign, the game is really good. And I hated the zombies.
Was the one that had the first Battle Royale thing, right? Is that what Black Ops 4 was?
No, and Black Ops 4 was the one where they introduced the operators, where they had like those special... they had the special like power-up moves that like you had to build up a meter, and then you could do like a special power-up move.
Oh my gosh.
So insanely effing stupid. I hated that game. I remember when I called them, it was so funny. What I did is I actually got Black Ops 4, and Battlefield 5 came out the same time. I think like within a week of it or something, or like within 2 weeks. And I remember calling I called Microsoft. And the lady's like, hi, thank you for calling Microsoft, Xbox Division. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, take this trash off my hard drive. I swear to God, I said that to her. And then she's like, can you be a little more specific? And I'm like, Black Ops 4. Like, I had to go through the whole spiel. And she gave me the full refund or whatever. And I said, listen, I don't want a refund. Give me Battlefield 5 instead. And I got the deluxe, and actually she was really nice about it. And she gave me the deluxe edition of Battlefield 5 for the same price as what I would have gotten for the standard edition for Black Ops 4. So I ended up getting Battlefield 5, which turned out to be a fantastic game. I absolutely loved that game. I thought it was a great game. But anyways,
yeah, I remember enjoying the Battlefield 5 campaign. But God Emperor says Blackout, like that was the name of the mode. It was. Am I remembering correctly? It was like
yes. That was it, Sofa King. You're right, dude.
Was it like a PUBG ripoff? Was that the first time they did that? Before Warzone was a thing? Like
yes, it was before Warzone was a thing. Yeah,
and drop in. Who cares? Who cares?
No, you still had access to like Jeeps and like water vehicles and helicopters and stuff like that, and you were still able to do all that kind of stuff. And it was basically the first. You're right. It was the first iteration of Warzone. So,
Magnum Westward says, Mag, Black Ops 4 is first party now. You take that back. Now that it's first party.
I'm not taking it back. No. I think Microsoft should take that game and bury it out in the backyard and just never speak of it again, okay? It's a dirty secret that should never be spoken about. God, that game was awful. And you know, like I said, I was so pissed off because the zombie mode is one of my favorite things, and it was a zombie mode that took place on I think it was on a cruise ship, like a ghost cruise ship kind of thing. And I'm like, ooh, this sounds good. garbage. Let me tell you.
Garbaggio.
Straight trash. It was awful. Probably the worst zombie mode I've ever played was Black Ops 4. Yeah, I got rid of that instantly. I never regretted it. So, anyways.
Yeah, very faint memories, but you know, it's like when everyone's freaking out about a 4 on Call of Duty, I'm like, I'm sure it's still going to sell like crazy. I could care less at this point.
Whatever, man. I ain't getting it.
Yeah,
I'm not paying $100 for a mediocre experience.
Yeah. Highlander001, thank you for the 5. He says, Boeing aircraft are using AI and turning F-16s into autonomous drones. We are doomed.
Yep, he's not wrong. Really,
aren't the F-16s like 1990s era created fighter jets?
Yeah, what they're doing is they're also going to be, they're looking into it for commercial airlines as well. This is where it scares me because I don't
an
like
F-16 for commercial airline? Welcome to F-16 airline. We can take one passenger.
Well, at least I can get to Florida in 6 minutes. It'll be like, hey, I'm coming down to Florida. And it'll be like, okay, how long are you going to be there? I'm here. Yeah.
Told you I'm coming down to.
Yeah, I told you.
With the parachuting in.
No, they're talking about putting AI as an accompaniment to like the human whatever, to the human like pilots or whatever else. So what they do is that the AI is going to be sort of monitoring what the human element is doing, what the human pilots are doing. And but here's the thing that scares the crap out of me, okay? This is what scares me. What they said that if the pilot makes a move or the computer, the AI decides that you're doing something that could be dangerous or could be harmful to the plane or the passengers, it will take over and make a correction so that so that you know you keep everything safe and sound or whatever else. But what if it like misinterprets what a correction requires or whatever else, right? What if it sees you do something right, but all of a sudden for whatever reason, maybe there's a glitch, maybe there's something, and it decides that you're doing something incorrect and decides to course correct, and then could, you know, I don't want to get into it because I'm like I said, I'm terrified of flying. I don't need any more reason to be afraid, but. Yeah, there's things like that, and now they're talking about the military applications of it as well, right? That's scary because that's like we said half an hour ago. That's where Skynet comes into play, because if it determines a threat, or what it determines a threat, not the humans determining what a threat is. What if they say this is a direct threat? We're going to act. That terrifies me, and that's.
I mean, cars are doing that right now, Mag.
That's.
I mean, my car can do it.
I have Teslas, dude. I have Teslas, and Teslas not only drive themselves, they change lanes without you. Like if you're driving and you want to maintain a certain speed, let's say you want to go 100 miles an hour, right? And you're driving 100 miles and you want to maintain 100 miles. It will literally watch all the different cars around you, check their speeds and their trajectories, and then say calculating, and it will start moving in and out of other lanes at a frightening speed, by the way, I'd like to add, of the way it moves from like one lane to the other lane and keeps you going and maintaining that same speed. It's bloody terrifying. And the thing is, you're right. If your car starts to drift, the car will pull you back into your lane, right? If you have like that, if you have that tech. And that's a little bit, I mean, it's okay for like a little bit, but like, you know, not in an airplane. You know what I mean? I don't want them going, oh, what's this guy doing? And then like turn the plane this way.
The airplanes have been flying for us since like the 70s or something. Since the movie Airplane, the little inflatable guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The inflatable guy. But the thing is, it was never making decisions.
Yeah.
It was just basically a more advanced version of cruise control. Even though I know the takeoff and landing are also mostly guided by the computer, but at the end of the day, there's still the human element there. The AI in this case would be making the actual decisions if it determines that there's something that may be wrong from their perspective. That is terrifying to me.
True77 says, y'all see the video of the guy driving his Tesla through a cemetery, and the Tesla detects pedestrians, aka ghosts, outside of the vehicle?
What?
I can't do it.
I don't need that in my life. I don't need that in my life. Yes, Crispy Bomb. I'm not ranting. Okay, I'm not ranting. We're talking about the terrifying realities of AI. But anyways, yeah. And then of course ghosts outside of Teslas, which I really don't need when I'm driving at 5 a.m. and it's pitch black outside. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. When I think of like the application for video games, of course I worry about people losing their jobs, but there's so much stuff that I think we could celebrate that isn't like ghosts outside your car or something taking over for you. But one of the complaints about Starfield was the procedurally generated stuff, and AI is really mostly going to be used for procedural generation in games. The problem is when, like, let's say Bethesda is building Starfield and they're like, okay, we're going to have procedurally generated planets and here's the parameters and the computer will do everything based on these parameters and we'll get this cultivated content like we would expect. Maybe the AI can take that many steps further and go, look, you don't just get the bare minimum. Like, this planet is this far away from the sun, so it has to be cold. It's this big, so it has to have this gravity. Like, it could actually build something a little more fleshed out. Because one of the cool things about AI is it can make decisions, but it also has a bit of it can also kind of mimic personality and creativity. And a lot of experts say that we're not going to see the level of interactivity and creativity in this console generation, that we'll see the beginning of it. They'll take baby steps, and then next generation, when we get the next set of consoles, the next generation of games, that we may start to see things we're like, oh wow, that was all AI doing that, and we're like, yeah, this is where we are. But the AI technology is moving so fast just this year. I think it was early this year when everyone started putting up AI generated images of themselves for their profile pictures, and my first AI generation images were so ridiculous, and now they're, because it's just learning. It's kind of scary, but kind of exciting. But
it's a little bit of both. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's scary and it's exciting at the same time because the possibilities to utilize it in a positive way are there. But like I said, when it comes to money and corporations, there's nothing positive about it. It will all be utilized for nefarious reasons. It'll be utilized by shadow governments. It'll be utilized by our government. It's already being used by our government. Our governments are using it right now. And then the corporations are going to do the same. We're basically just going to become, I mean, we're already lemmings in a certain way, but I mean, we're going to be even more so. We're just going to be cattle at some point because the corporations are going to run everything with AI without the human element. Right? And then that's going to be eventually the future. Like, what are we going to be at that point? Pets? We're basically going to be pets.
Somebody said in the chat earlier, like, what do you guys think about YouTube and AI? Like, there's AI generated videos where the voiceover is done by AI. You got disembodied voice. Like before I was on camera, like it was all on the mic. AI can do that. Like, if you tell it to make a video, the voiceover will like, today we're going to talk about foot fungus and hot dogs. And there's I watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, and there's these sci-fi channels that talk about different things going on in the universe or astrology things or whatever. I don't even know if that's the right word. Whatever. But I watched a video where a guy's like, I work really hard to create science-based videos about what's going on in the universe. And he said, here's all these channels that I've been finding that are basically created by someone who is guiding them with AI. Like, all right, I need to make a channel. It'll make the thumbnails for them. It'll make the videos. I guess everything we're doing could eventually be replaced by procedurally generated algorithms
Absolutely.
and AI. But
100%. I mean, YouTube is not even run by a human. YouTube is run by a program. Try and call YouTube when you have a problem. Like, they have handlers. Like, if you're big enough, you have a handler. But like, if you're not big enough to have a handler, you ain't talking to nobody. You are literally talking to a computer program. They decide what you want to watch. They decide what algorithms go through and which ones don't go through. If you talk about certain dates, they won't. They will pull you out of the algorithm because they're trying to all funnel you into whatever direction they want you to go, whether it's political, whether it's religious, whether it's whatever. And they decide what you get to see by, like I said, by funneling you in that direction. You couldn't even say the words January 6th last year without getting banned. You couldn't say the word COVID 2 years ago and you got demonetized. You tell me who's in control. It sure as hell ain't us. And that's where AI is going to take us. And that's why you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful with that stuff.
Yes, don't call me
It's
Scooter.
a lot of fun,
It was Kyle Hill, I think. He's amazing. He looks like Thor. He looks like Chris Hemsworth, and he's so talented. His videos are so good. I think it was him that did a video about all these AI generated channels on YouTube that cover science and things like that. While you were talking, I was trying to mouth every word you were saying. I gotta go back and check that because I was pretty accurate because I knew what you were gonna say when you were gonna say it because you are an AI generated machine.
I am.
I want to get the chat involved for a minute. All right, so pay attention, chat.
Are they chat or are they just bots?
They hold on. I only see one real person there, and it's Snoop Nukem. Okay, guys, I want you to do something for Mag and I. We're going to keep an eye on the chat here. I want you to tell us what you do for your job and keep it in a I don't know, safely, like where you're not specific. But tell us like what kind of work you do for your job. And I want us all to kind of give an idea. Science Thor, I love it. I want us to kind of think about what we do for our jobs. And if it's a possibility in the next few years, if your job could be eased out by a robot or an AI software program. And before we start, as you're starting to write that, I got to ask you, Mag, you spent a good chunk of your adulthood working in a kitchen, running a crazy environment where your hands, your mind, your planning, and everything and the creativity that comes into working in a kitchen. I should let you say this, but is it a possibility, Mag, that a couple of great chefs could be replaced by machinery powered by AI to run a kitchen back room?
At some point, yes. And then what the actual people that would be working at that point would basically just be like the lowest of the level lemmings at that point, where you're basically just production stuff, where you're just piecing something together and just, well, even that could all be replaced, because even now, like if you look at now, like for example, a lot of the like food production and things like that, even in bigger places like your donut, like even like chain donut stores and things like that, like I said, the Tim Hortons, I can't remember you guys, I got Dunkin' Donuts down there and all that kind of stuff, right? They used to make, they used to have a chef, they used to have a pastry chef that used to come in and make all that stuff, right? They would come in and make the donuts at like 4 a.m. So when you came in at like 7, everything was fresh. That doesn't happen anymore. Now machines make everything. And then they come already par baked on trays, where the people that work there literally take the tray and put it into a pre-programmed oven and just press the button. When it beeps, you pull it out and the donuts are ready. And that's it. So they're taking away all those jobs already as we speak. They're already taking away a lot of those production things. They could build sandwiches. They could build burgers. They could do all that stuff. It is very simple for them to do. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in that category, because there's always going to be a market for what I do. I don't really cook as much anymore. Now I do more of the office work, the administrative stuff, being a senior executive, all that kind of stuff, and hospitality is a lot different. However, that being said, my job could go away as well, eventually, because then, you know what? A program could be able to do par stock orderings for all the buildings that I operate and things like that. They know how much milk we go through because they look at the trends, right? They say, okay, well, it trends that they buy 500,000 gallons of milk a month per building or whatever, right? I'm just pulling out a number. And then they could just average that. The AI computer can average all those things and take away my job too. Because then no longer do I have to budget. No longer would I be the one sitting there going, oh man, I only got $1,000 left here. I spent $25,000 or $26,000 on this one building in 1 month in food or whatever. The computer could do it for me. The AI program will be able to do it and never be over budget. They you know what I mean? So there's always something that they can figure out, and that will take away my job too eventually. Not in the near future, but the beauty is, because as the chat would love to point out, that I'm an old man, that like I'll be retiring at some point within the next decade. I'll be retiring. So by the time it becomes a problem, I'm out, and I'll just look at it and be like, all right, well, I guess that's the next generation's problem. So it kind of sucks,
and I know while you were talking about that, it might be hard to watch the chat. A lot of people are talking about where they work. There was a couple that stood out to me. And I would like to say their names to give them the props, but Sweet Baby Ray says, "I'm a software engineer, and I'm, I don't know a lot about software engineering, but I do know in engineering you're following a playbook and a set parameters of what has to be followed to create something. Electrical engineer, structural engineers, civil engineers, which is one of the fields that I'm in, and I work next to civil engineers. There's a civil engineer that was usually in the chat here. I don't know if she is right now, but your job is to basically look at a book and set of parameters and build and design based on those parameters and follow those rules, so that when you make your product, it is safe, or it is great, or it does what it's supposed to. And it seems like, and I'm not asking you to think out in the future, like when there's these crazy robots that have all this ambidextrous things they can do, but I talk to doctors and nurses that in my area that they have a Surgery 2000 robot that does almost everything, and the doctor controls it, and it does a lot of it automated. A lot of our jobs, I'm seeing some says I work in IT, and there's a lot of stuff. Sin says I work in IT and desktop support. A lot of his work, or he or she, whoever, their work is talking to people on the phone and figuring out what they need or what's wrong, or physically going on site and changing out parts. And some of that can't be done by AI. But as far as updates, sure, absolutely. Updates or fixes or repairs in the software side. I heard somebody say here that they're a graphic designer. Oh, Yoda's alive, says I'm a chocolatier. Don't know, maybe. No, I think you're probably pretty good. Chocolatier is not going to be replaced by AI. Certified financial planner, partially replaceable. Sure, says don't call me Scooter. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Red Wolf says he's a videographer and a photographer. Like, no, I think that job might not be replaced by AI for a long, long time. There's just some things where just it's crazy.
Let me ask you a question. And this is a chat for the question too. Obviously, this is hypothetical, because you guys can't answer me directly unless you're in the chat there, whatever. But here's the thing: why? And this is a question you have to ask yourself: why is everybody pushing so hard for AI? That's the question you have to answer yourself. That's what you have to look at. Don't look at the benefits. Don't look at the negatives. Try and figure out why they're pushing so hard for AI. They're so enthusiastic about it. Do you think that they're doing it to make your life better? Absolutely effing not.
Some of it.
They are doing it 100% to reduce cost and basically getting you out of a job. At that point, what's his name here? Edward Lafferty. Where the hell did he say it? Anyone thinking that their job is safe from robots and AI is simply fooling themselves. He's 100% correct. If you went back 20 years and you said to a GM worker that, or like say 30 years, 40 years, that computers and robots will build all cars from now on, what would they have said? They would have said, nope, there will have to be humans there because there's a human element to building cars. They need to look at certain things, this and that. Well, guess what? Fast forward to 2023, a lot of the cars are made by, you guessed it, 100% robots. Okay? They find ways around it. There's a reason why all these corporations are pushing so hard for AI. They're pushing hard for AI because they're excited, because they're about to see their costs go way down, because they're going to cut a hell of a lot of your jobs. And that's a fact. And customers won't care. And that's the scary part, because there's going to be a lot of, it's just apathy basically at that point. It's just going to be, they don't care, because you know what? If you get a Last of Us every 2 years, or a new Gears of War every 2 years, as opposed to 5 years, because AI is being able to push it out the door, do you think they care about the guys who made it? How many times you go to a restaurant and you think to yourself, man, I wonder if that chef who's been there for 15 hours without a break, do you care about that chef? Probably not. All you care about is that you got your steak. You don't think about what's going on back there. You don't think about how hard. Well, so you know what I mean? Hey, like people don't care about that thing. They care about what they paid for.
I wanted to ask you this. When you used to cook, did you almost never get to hear how great your meals were because there wasn't feedback?
Very rarely.
Because you're like closed off. Yeah. Cepho says too much politics tonight, Colt. I don't feel like this is, I don't even like politics. This is more like the human element of the things we love. Like, I'm a big music person, and algorithms and technology has been honing and tightening music for the past 20 years. And sometimes you're like, man, this song just sounds really great. Like, it just sounds so perfect. And it was a well-written song. This is the reality of Meg, you said it really well. who cares if you get a really great Gears game every 2 years instead of 5 years? And the trade-off is, hey, AI can speed up the process, but it still has to be good, or you wasted your time and money. So if they can direct AI to speed up the process while still having that human level of this has to be really good and people have to love it, and that's what you end up shipping, then we're going to sit back as consumers and go, hey man, this is a lot better than it was in the 2020s. I don't know.
Yes, but the thing is, though,
what's up,
now
Mav?
a development team of 200 is now going to be 50. Right? Because I know someone said something about the Tesla stuff. What I'm getting at, like Tesla's got all the robots building their cars. Japan, a lot of their cars are being made by robots. Yes, of course, there's still humans there, and they will still continue to hire humans to be part of it. But
high-end luxury cars or hypercars are half built by humans. They're
right.
all.
But the thing is, it's also half the amount of staff. Maybe even 75% of the staff is gone. Maybe only 25% of the staff is there. So if they had 5,000 workers, now they only got 1,000. Right? So you still you still have the human element, but you've lost 4,000 jobs. So when this ties in, whoever said a lot of politics tonight, we're not talking politics. We're talking the video game industry, because we're talking about, software developers. We're talking about all the, the people who create the engines, who create the artwork, the artists, the voice actors, all those things that go into our video games are all part of this. And
and when I was talking about the Skyrim thing, like the lady's voice sounded a little bit gated or a little bit guided by, it had inflection in it, but you could tell that it wasn't a smooth voice talking. It had a little bit of that digital edge on it, right? And of course, we would all rather have somebody like Jennifer Hale deliver those lines with meaning and impact, and you feel like the character's real. And if AI, because AI is going to be able to do that soon, right? Because AI used to sound like, what can I do for you? And now it's like, hey, what can I do for you? But it's still not quite organic and natural sounding.
Oh,
no. But
that'll come in time.
I'm so frustrated with how long it takes games to be made. Playground Games continues to hire people. They have like 300 people at the studio. I don't think they necessarily want to have that many people at the studio. They're going to get Fable finished the next year or so, and then they're going to have that big drop off that every office or every creative team has, where they've launched their game and now they have all these people working there until the next thing. And that's why you see layoffs. And I worked for a team that hired half of our office consultants, because at a state job, the consultants, when the project's done, the consultants were said, okay, you're done. And they went and they worked somewhere else. There wasn't this, we have to lay off people because we had to bulk up to deliver a huge thing. So the AI implementation is real, and Matt Booty has been asking for this for a couple years. I think they've been preparing everybody that this is going to be how the supplementary work gets done. I just hope that it's all really, really good. So let me see if I've got anything else left here. I've got Danny Passion Official says he didn't finish Modern Warfare 3. He played about 3 hours. He got that cut off and then got his money back. Highlander says those F-16s have no pilots. They operate without pilots. So they have an empty cockpit.
Insane.
They fill them up with Twinkies and then they drop them off over at my house. It'd be amazing.
They have cardboard cutouts of people. That'd be really funny. Remember that during COVID when you watched like a sporting event and they had all those cardboard cutouts of people in the crowd like this? Yeah. Yep. Those people are now inside the F-16.
What are you going to do with those? You got to put them in F-16s. They take them out of the stadium and they put them in the planes.
Can you imagine that like a Chinese fighter jet goes up next to him and looks over and goes, those pilots look surprised. They don't look quite normal. What's wrong with them? They're not reacting to us.
Or it's a Chinese fighter jet and it's got, ran by AI and it's got like a white guy with a mustache flying it. Or cardboard cutout. Something's not right here. I'm not sure. What's that?
Like, what do you see? What do you see?
Sir, we see F-16s. It seems like the pilot's eating a hot dog with a Diet Coke.
And it's like the cutout from the stadium. He's holding a hot dog and a.
It's like when I played MLB, like the back behind the catcher would be like the crowd. This, like a kid would be holding a pretzel. It's like this big, and he'd be holding it like it clipped through his hand. He's like waving the pretzel around. I'm like, I am not immersed. This has been a weird show. I was going to talk about Eidos Montreal really quick. Embracer's having problems. They're laying off people, and experts are wondering if Eidos Montreal, the team that made Guardians of the Galaxy, and Crystal Dynamics, the team that's partnering with Xbox for Perfect Dark, it's a lot of P's, if Xbox is going to come swoop them up. More to hear on that. But yeah, it's a weird news week, and there's other things that I was going to talk about, but I think we're going to wrap up. And it's been a thank you for putting up with some of our nonsense, but
No. This has been a wild show, man. This is like stuff. And listen, I know some people be like, this and that, whatever. This is important to talk about now before it becomes a problem. So I actually am 100% on board with all this stuff. And I think that everybody in the chat should be too. Like, listen, even if you don't want to, whatever, we'll get to other stuff too. But you know what? This is important because it's happening in gaming now. And never mind the rest of the world. So it's something important that we should talk about before it becomes an issue. So I'm all in for it. But
yeah, at least we didn't talk about world events or talk about,
No. We're not doing that. This is still,
it
still had to do with the gaming industry, and it's an important discussion that needs to happen. So, anyways, Red Wolf's got something for you.
Yeah, Red Wolf says, let's close out the show with some ASMR. Mag, what do you have for us from the fine microphone at Mag's house?
Well, tonight, I just had myself a African saffron tea here, and it's inside my. It's also had some turmeric from Ethiopia as well, because a lot of the teas I get are from North Africa, because they're actually very good for you and very good for arthritis and for your joints as we are all getting a little bit older. This mug right here is my Nightmare Before Christmas mug. It's not mine, it's my wife's, and she finds out that I used it, she's probably going to murder me. But anyways, Colt, I think it was a wonderful show. As an AI bot, I just like to be super happy now that I'm off the air. I'm going to go back to my normal job as being a Russian sex bot. So, Colt, please close out the show. You got anything you'd like to say?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to share my carbon fiber drink mug that also has a plastic straw that is telescoping. This is a great drink. It also houses the very wonderful nectar of the god. It is the water from a mountain cascade in early morning precipitation, also known as Mountain Dew. It's absolutely delicious. It has 0 calories, 0 sugar, no caffeine, and won't make you fat or insane.
But that's a lie, because Mountain Dew does make you fat.
It does, and it's got Yellow Number 5 in it, which is it's a great song by Lou Bega. Yeah,
we will be cruising at 34,000 feet. We have some headwinds coming in at about 11 knots, and we should be landing in Detroit momentarily. If the crew would like to take their seats, and thank you for flying with Mag and Colt Airlines.
And don't worry if you feel any rough air, as we call it now. We no longer call it turbulence because that's politically incorrect. But
Yes.
Don't worry, we have AI flying the plane, which will also be doing ChatGPT, and will be generating hot women images for you this forthwith. But that will be flying your plane, and the drink table is also led by AI. The AI cart will come by and slap you in the thigh. So thank you for everything you guys do.
It'd be really funny if the pilot was like, by the way, I'm not even on the plane. I'm actually at the airport still at the bar drinking. And he goes, I just called in and I just called in from there.
Like,
AI is flying the plane. He's like, I'm not even on the plane.
AI is flying the plane today. We don't actually know how planes fly, so we've turned it over to the algorithm and the AI, because they get up there and they just, for some reason, they hold up in the air. We're not quite sure how we do it, but I can't get behind that seat unless I've had a few drinks in me. My name is Art Grego, and thank you for flying Swanson Airlines. So what a crazy show. Thanks for putting up with us. So I got one more super, I think. Danny Passion Official says this was an AI show. Yeah, it was in the thumbnail. Yeah, it's weird. It's wacky. I could talk about Activision Blizzard until I'm blue in the face, but nothing is really happening right now with Activision Blizzard. And that the interviewer from IGN was like, when are you going to make some exclusive games on Xbox? And Mike Barr was like, we literally, I just put the pen down. We just signed the deal. Udana Kazada says, new Mountain Dew Game Fuel is back, boys. Nostalgia. Somebody sent me someone that cares about me very much sent me a link to that, and I should go pick it up so I could have type 7 diabetes. This is the Ecstasy Podcast, episode 124. Thanks for putting up with us, and you guys are amazing. Candy with an I, Red Wolf says. Little joke we were talking about today. Candy with an I. You spell with an I? No, she has one eye. Her name's Candy. She's got an eye right in the center. Yeah, that's great stuff. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're gonna get out of here. Thanks
you got
for
one more from Uncle Chowder. One more from Uncle Chowder.
Oh, Uncle Chowder, bring it in. He says, "Much love to you guys. I'm gonna rewatch. Keep up the good work. Sad I missed the fun."
Brother.
Thank you. I'll get the timestamps in when I can. I have a feeling the timestamps are going to be Mag talks about arthritis, and then I talk about AI for 47 minutes. So, yeah, thanks. I think, let me make sure that's it. Yeah, we're good. All right. We will see you next week. Hopefully some more news drops in, and we're out.
All right. Good night.